Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our closing exercise for this year's Research Week 2021. The theme, Research, Mitigating Challenges for Sustainable Development in the New Normal. So again, thank you for joining us for our closing exercise. And just to give you a quick run through of what the program will be like. So coming after me will be our devotional speaker, Dr. Robert Wright. He's the director for the E.G. White Center here at Northern Caribbean University. And then we'll have our opening remarks and welcome from Dr. Heather Smith Sherwood, followed by the introduction of our keynote speaker by Dr. Daniel Alida, who is the Dean for the College of Education. We'll then move on to our presentation of awards for the intercollegiate competition, after which we'll close off the rest of the day's proceedings. So thank you again and welcome, and please enjoy our closing exercises.
It is my pleasure to be sharing this devotional exercise with you this afternoon. We have come to the end of a wonderful week of sharing, of discussions, of study. And it is always wonderful to research and to discover new knowledge. And most importantly, to apply that new knowledge to the benefit of humanity. And research should tend to that end, to the advancement of the human race in both our knowledge base and how it is applied, theoretical knowledge as well as applied knowledge, for the improvement of the lot of humanity. The topic for my brief devotional this afternoon is the conclusion of the whole matter. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you have given us wisdom, you have given us knowledge, and the means by which we can acquire more knowledge. I pray that you'll help us that as we acquire, as we research, as we study, that we will utilize that which we have learned for the benefit of humanity, for the advancement of the well-being of the human race, and for the glory of your name. And we thank you in Jesus' name. So, King Solomon, as you all know, was the wisest man who ever lived. He had knowledge in the sciences, the arts, politics, humanities, philosophy, and you name it. There was no branch of knowledge in which he did not excel. He was an excellent student in all fields of research and study, except one. And I suppose you know what that one is. He failed terribly in one area of research, one area wherein he thought he was master, but which ruined his life. With all his vast accomplishments, he lacked self-control. He gave loose reins to his sexual lusts, and that resulted in much loss and deprivation and iniquity in the life of the king. That weakness, lack of self-control, has been and is responsible for the great evils that are overrunning our world today. There have been great advances in science and technology in recent decades. Billions of dollars are pumped by large companies into research and development. Marvelous discoveries and almost unimaginable inventions have been made. Advances in medicine, robotics, communication technology, aviation, space exploration, and more all seem to suggest that this is the most glorious age in the existence of humanity. However, we have made rapid advances as well in wickedness and immorality, in debauchery, prejudice, hatred, and the list goes on. God has given humans great knowledge, which, if rightly employed, should make the lot of humanity better. Unfortunately, we have made the same mistakes as did Solomon. Through selfishness, greed, corruption, etc., we have lost the blessings that should have redounded to the good of the entire human family. The wise man, in his introduction to his treatise on wisdom, declared in Ecclesiastes 1, verses 12 to 14, I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. And I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. And why is that so? Because they were not all done to bring glory and honor to God. The wise man goes into detail as to the research he did and the discoveries he made. He had discovered so much and learned so much that he literally became bored with wisdom and knowledge. His boredom led him to investigate foolishness and to engage in folly. He said it, not me. He said, and I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceived that this also is vexation of spirit. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 17. That foray into the realm of folly cost him dearly. And you know the story. The many women he married ultimately led him into paganism, idolatry, and he invoked the wrath of God. As the preacher explored the vanity of life, a life of wisdom, riches, wealth, renown, without God in the picture, he came to the conclusion that all is worthless unless done to the honor of God. And so the conclusion to his treatise is found in Ecclesiastes 12, verses 13 and 14. He says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So as God has blessed us with wisdom, with knowledge, with understanding, let us use all to bring honor and glory to his name, to edify our fellow human beings, and to make the lot of humanity better. Because after all, it doesn't matter how much you know, and it doesn't matter how much you have discovered, and how much you might have contributed to society for your own, maybe selfish reasons or whatever. Ultimately, God will judge. And in the judgment, he will determine if we were good stewards of the wisdom, of the knowledge, and of the things that were entrusted to us for the betterment and improvement of the lot of humanity. Let us pray to close. Father, help us to be good stewards of the knowledge you have given us, of the wisdom, of all the gifts and blessings. May we use them all to bring glory and honor to your name and the benefit to the well-being of the human family. We thank you for answering our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
February 22 to 25, 2021 will be etched in the chronicles of Northern Caribbean University as a historic landmark. This eventful week marked the production of the inaugural virtual research conference themed Research, Mitigating Challenges for Sustainable Development in the New Normal. You will agree with me that this is quite an appropriate theme against the backdrop of the anticipated and unanticipated challenges of our current global dilemma. To surmount the odds, successfully exist today, and remain relevant for tomorrow demand extraordinary insight, creativity, and fortitude cushioned by divine interposition. If you have been sharing in this eventful week so far, on Monday, you would have participated in the Current Trends and Issues Conference in the College of Business and Management. In addition, you would have experienced the grand opening ceremony of the Research Week with keynote speaker, Dr. Joseph A. Whitaker, Vice President for Research and Provost of Jackson University, USA. On Tuesday, you would have been exposed to the 21st Annual Science Symposium in the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing. On Wednesday, you would have been involved in the William Smith Lecture Series in the College of Education and Leadership, engaged with the College of Humanities, Behavioral and Social Sciences, and gained valuable insight from experiencing the opening ceremony of the Nursing Symposium in the School of Nursing with keynote speaker, Dr. Angela Heller, oncology social worker from New York Presbyterian Hospital. This morning, you would have had interactions in the School of Religion and Theology and the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing in the continuation of their nursing symposium. What a week it has been, with all the enlightening and stimulating research presentations, propelling this university to continue to immerse ourselves in the kinds of research that will allow us to confront the circumstances of life with combined wisdom and resilience. We owe this mindset to our students, ourselves, our eternal environment, and ultimately to Jehovah God. I believe that this closing exercise will serve to challenge us as we seek to navigate this new period through basic and applied research. Against this backdrop, I welcome you wholeheartedly today, from wherever you are joining us, and I want to invite you to stay to the very end. You will be glad you did. God bless you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My task is to introduce our keynote speaker for this closing ceremony for our 2021 Research Conference. Professor Elizabeth Mendoca-Role holds bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in science education, major in mathematics. She worked at Adventist University of the Philippines for 21 years as educator and administrator. On her last 5 years of service at AUP, she was Vice President for Academic Affairs before moving to Asia Pacific International University in Thailand, where she served as Director of Quality Assurance and Institutional Research for 3 years. She was the Director of Graduate Studies and Research at University of Eastern Africa Baraton, Eldoret, Kenya, where she and her husband served for close to 13 years as international service employees of the General Conference. She has published a college mathematics textbook with emphasis on values integration and several educational research articles in refereed journals. She was the project investigator of the church member surveys in 3 African divisions commissioned by the Department of Education and archives, statistics, and research of the General Conference in 2013 and 2017, and continues to serve in this capacity in the 2021 to 2023 survey. Though retired from active denominational employment after 36 years of dedicated service, she is currently an adjunct professor of research at Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies in the Philippines. She and her husband are residing in Riverside, California, with their son and family, and regularly visit their daughter and family who are residents of Florida. They are blessed with 4 granddaughters and 1 grandson. I take pleasure to introduce to you once more, as our guest speaker for this closing ceremony, Professor Elizabeth Mendoca-Role. Let's give her the time.
Good afternoon. I consider it a rare privilege to be the keynote speaker for the closing ceremony of NCU Research Week this year, 2021. I want to congratulate the Office of Graduate Studies and Research for a successful virtual research conference. Indeed, the pandemic did not prevent you from celebrating your annual Research Week. Your effort in doing so is truly commendable. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that the connected world we live in is now physically apart, but more virtually connected than ever. I acclaim your choice of this year's Research Week theme, Research, Mitigating Challenges for Sustainable Development in the New Normal, which I consider very relevant to demonstrate the significant role of research in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals during the post-COVID age, which we call the New Normal, which is not really the type of normal we know. One thing is clear: research will forever be a very important ingredient of development, and its significance will forever remain relevant for any system that wants to grow and merge up with her counterparts across the world. Whenever we are faced with a problem, we consciously identify the cause of the problem toward effortful discovery of the required solution to effectively appropriate such solution to the system with something new being added to knowledge. We can truly say that every improvement is traceable to research. This afternoon, in my talk, which I titled Lessons Learned from COVID-19 Crisis, Refocused Research Agenda Toward Inclusive and Equitable Quality Education for All in the New Normal, I want to focus on the education goal of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, that is, to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. In the voluntary National Review Report on the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, it was reported that Jamaica has made significant advances in transforming and repositioning its education system to be the primary driver of sustainable, and inclusive development. The country is pursuing a path toward the achievement of world-class education and training as an outcome of a citizenry empowered to achieve its fullest potential. The realization of this vision comes with challenges because there are gaps in the quality of educational outcomes, institutional and other capacity, and access and policy provisions. The 21st century is a paradigm-shifting age, particularly in the field of education. We are experiencing technological, demographic, social, environmental, economic, and political shifts which are forcing us to redefine what our educational structure should be. Stakeholders asking fundamental questions about education have widened from the inner circles of curriculum experts and researchers to the broader public. The education sector faced global challenges at the turn of the 21st century. The challenges begin from the realization that we're educating a special cohort of students, the Generation Z, born between 1995 to 2009, and Generation Alpha, born in 2010 and onward. Generations considered to be digital natives. Who are the Generation Z learners? They are the first students to be born into a world with smartphones, tablets, and computers. They were born into an information revolution, from artificial intelligence, self-driving cars, and drones to virtual assistants. They like information in bite-sized chunks and prefer hands-on learning. They are social entrepreneurs and like their learning to have meaning and purpose. Thus, they like to make and create. Their social circle is global, and therefore, they want to connect, collaborate, and share using images and emojis. How about the Generation Alpha? Well, they are children of millennials. They are the first group who will be immersed in technology their entire lives. These kids are also referred to as the glass generation, as their glass-fronted devices will be their main medium of communication. They have been widely exposed to multiple digital platforms from a young age. The question is, will the old normal of educational structure, such as rows of desks, heavy bags, mass lectures, public exams, one-size-fits-all teaching methods, broken teacher-parent communication, be relevant to the present generation of learners? The advocacy to reimagine and revitalize the 21st century education to achieve the 2030 vision for sustainable development is undoubtedly imperative. However, the first quarter of this century is almost over, but the desired change to meet the needs of the learners is being realized at a slow pace until the COVID-19 pandemic shocked the world. We are hit hard by the truth that indeed crises often create an opportunity for immediate, faster, and broader change. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, the education system, not only in underdeveloped and developing countries, but also in developed countries, was caught unawares. The pandemic caused unprecedented closures of schools all over the world, urging educators to search for ways to meet the needs of learners outside the bounds of traditional school walls. This triggered a shift of teaching learning space from public space to personal space. Instead of going to school premises to teach and learn, teaching and learning now happen at home within our personal spaces. Along this shift in space comes a shift in social interactions, from physical to virtual, and in communication channels, from face-to-face to technological devices. Well, distance learning is not a new phenomenon. It was common beginning the late 1800s, and it grew rapidly in the late 1900s with the advances of online technical revolution. Governments and schools have invested a great deal on educational technology per year. Schools have employed teaching approaches using online platforms and tools. One might expect that the investment and widespread availability of education technology would create the conditions for schools to shift relatively easily to distance learning, but schools did not seamlessly or easily shift to distance learning during the pandemic. The COVID-19 crisis revealed that most education technology tools are not well implemented or even used. Research shows that they are most commonly used or simply purchased for supplemental activities, not for core instruction. Consequently, neither teachers nor students are used to relying totally on technology. Across the research studies on online learning by the American Institutes of Research before and during the pandemic, it was revealed that online learning is difficult for students of all types, whether they are academically struggling, average, or advanced. I can personally attest to this based on my research encounter with pure online learning. I just finished teaching an online research course for 19 IAS graduate students in education, business, and public health. The group was composed of students who are studying full-time, studying part-time and working part-time, and studying part-time while working full-time. The first two groups, full-time students and doing part-time studying and part-time working, were forced to take online classes due to the pandemic. As their course facilitator, I felt that the difficulty they experienced was more pronounced in the current distance learning context, because besides the fact that online learning in reality is already difficult, they were also concurrently faced with other stressors brought about by the pandemic. What is encouraging is that although they found the online course that we had difficult, the students still stayed on task and engaged in their online class activities. This was also revealed in the AIR researches, even among primary and secondary students. Observing my 5th grade and 10th grade granddaughters who had been doing online classes since March 2020, their teachers did a wonderful job of implementing different strategies to keep them engaged and to monitor their engagement. I would say that their teacher plays a crucial role in this. While tremendous progress had been made to provide the most flexible and focused educational reforms and educational platforms in online learning, there is an opportunity gap when it comes to accessing this rich and robust educational system. The current pandemic has heightened awareness of the sheer number of disparities that exist across the globe. The sudden shift to online learning is a great opportunity that affords many of us unlimited exposure to education. However, the uneven distribution and access to technology among different groups based on socioeconomic status and or race shows that there is a great divide. While we must not lose sight of what we have learned through decades of research and education reform, the COVID-19 pandemic has driven educators to accelerate new models of learning and innovate beyond the classroom. There is now both the political will and a sense of urgency to take on the challenge of fixing long broken delivery models. The time has come to start reimagining the future of education, the 21st century education that we envisioned for the present generation of learners. Responding to the changes that the COVID-19 crisis has wrought on education systems around the world requires building on what we know works, as well as looking ahead to what we know students will need. It is imperative that in this new normal, when everything seems to be a variable and the only constant is our continual acclimatization to rapid change, our research agenda be refocused so as to realize an inclusive and equitable quality education for all. Reimagining education after the COVID-19 crisis involves recommitting to what we know works and reshaping for a better future. Bryant and his group suggest that school systems recommit to 4 basic principles: core skills and instruction, high-quality teachers and teaching, data for performance, and fit to context performance. And consider 8 ideas for innovation: technology for access, mastery-based learning, holistic support, future of work skills, teacher preparation and development, unbundled role of teachers, school structures, and resource allocation. In the suggested model, I will focus on the top 2 basic factors that will ensure student success: the role of instruction and teachers and principals. It is essential that the education systems recommit to core skills and instruction in the new normal. Decades of study revealed that every school system must first get the basics right. Students need a strong foundation in literacy and numeracy. Studies in the US show that students who cannot read proficiently by 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of school. UNESCO estimates that 60% of children around the world are not meeting basic standards. One of the challenges identified by the Planning Institute of Jamaica is that the students' numeracy skills remain below the required standards in the country. Research has identified the curricula, instructional materials, and teaching methods that are most effective in helping children learn. The earlier the children get exposed to the core skills from the pre-kindergarten or other programs, the better. Systems need to ensure that the knowledge is being adapted in both remote and in-person environments and evaluate new ideas against those benchmarks. The COVID-19 crisis is a signal that school systems around the world need to move beyond existing approaches to embrace more radical innovation, rethinking some fundamental elements of how we have educated students for a generation. As I mentioned earlier, the students we're educating in this century are the digital natives, a generation of technological acceleration of the internet and its networks. Growing up in such an environment, they think and process information in a totally different way than in previous generations. Their thinking patterns have changed, and it is likely that their brains have physically changed too. They understand the value of digital technology, and they can practice it in a spontaneous way. They are digital users. It is clear that we need Strong research on digital societies, which must explore the changes they imply in learning and teaching. The challenge is not just to adopt technologies, but also to incorporate them in ways that improve access and equality. This is especially important in the areas of the world that struggle with limited resources and significant shortages of qualified teachers in this age of technology. In our recommitment to the core skills and instruction in this age, it is necessary to reimagine how to harness technology to scale access. Let me share an example of a research done in this regard. Imagine Worldwide, an organization founded by Joe and Susan Colby in January 2017, with the purpose of finding solutions to common challenges so that child-directed, tech-enabled learning can scale to millions of children, has worked with partners to develop high-quality tech-enabled literacy and numeracy programs that cost less than $25 per student per year. With supervision from any adult, students use solar-powered tablets preloaded with research-based, self-paced math and literacy software for up to 60 minutes a day. That enables every device to support the learning of 4 to 5 students, all without requiring an internet connection. An 8-month randomized control trials in Malawi, which was launched in October 2018, have shown learning gains of 5.3 months of additional literacy learning among users over the single school year, an added value of about 66% in literacy, and an added value of at least 35% in numeracy. For less than $5 billion, less than 1% of the U.S. public school budget, the technology could be scaled across sub-Saharan Africa. These results show that child-directed, technology-enabled learning can help children to become literate and numerate. It should be noted, though, that teaching and learning in a digital society does not mean technologizing education. Research demonstrates that just handing out devices to students does not lead to improved learning. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown us that giving lectures on a video call is rarely a substitute for face-to-face teaching. The human relationship between students and teachers is an essential component of the learning process. But this relationship has to take new forms: synchronous and asynchronous, face-to-face or at a distance. We must take into account the possibility of learning when I want, where I want, through presence or distance learning. With technological tools on hand, how do we improve instruction in order for our students to be proficient in the core skills? I propose that we move toward mastery-based, personalized learning. Mastery-based learning is an instructional approach where students need to demonstrate a deep level of understanding of a topic or subject area before progressing onto another topic or subject area. Instruction, practice, and assessment continue until the mastery of the skill is attained. Students, after learning a skill, practice it. They may make mistakes, and they are guided to analyze and fix the mistakes before being assessed. They are encouraged to ask for help if needed, so they can analyze and fix their mistakes. They continue to practice the skill. They will again be assessed, and the process continues until the students demonstrate mastery. It is only then that a new skill is introduced. On the other hand, personalized learning is an educational approach that aims to customize learning for its students' strengths, needs, skills, and interests. Each student gets a learning plan that is based on what he knows and how he learns best. Personalized learning has 4 core elements: flexible content and tools, where instructional materials allow for differentiated path, pace, and performance tasks. Targeted instruction that aligns to specific needs and learning goals. Student reflection and ownership, based on the principle that ongoing student reflection promotes ownership of learning. And data-driven decisions, showing that frequent data collection informs instructional decision and groupings. I supervised one of our Master of Education students in Kenya who conducted a small-scale experimental study to examine the effect of personalized learning on the mathematics performance of secondary school students. The results revealed that the personalized teaching strategy had a great potential in improving students' achievement in mathematics, since it yielded better test scores than the traditional methods. Mastery-based personalized learning has been around for more than a decade, but the best solutions still reach a minority of kids. Technology has made the model even more compelling, enabling personalization at a level that is impossible to achieve in a traditional classroom. Smart adaptive technology programs can integrate instruction, practice, and feedback to allow students to work at their own pace, only moving on when they have fully grasped the material. And those programs have shown particular promise in mathematics. Moving to mastery-based personalized learning means that we shift our teaching methods from one-size-fits-all to individualized and differentiated learning. That is teaching each student uniquely to meet unique needs and paces. The academic goals may remain the same, but the individual students can progress through the curriculum at different speeds and use different resources based on their own particular learning needs. Accessibility varies from household to household, and distributing learning resources can be challenging for educators. How to design lessons according to the individual needs of students, giving them flexibility to master the materials accordingly, is indeed a rich area for research. For this creative model of teaching and learning to succeed, it is important that school systems invest in software solutions for remote and hybrid learning and plan for a future of blended personalized learning in the classroom. The implementation of mastery-based personalized learning requires a shift in learning evaluations from final examinations to formative assessments. Alternative means of evaluating learning had to be used to monitor student achievement. Formative assessments like science project demonstrations, math challenge games, and traditional book reports are no more desirable means of gauging a student's learning progress. The purpose of evaluation activities now shifts focus from assessment of learning or grading to assessment for learning. That is, we use the results to know whether the intended learning outcomes have been achieved by the students or whether they need extra work to help them master a certain topic. We need to seriously consider authentic assessment, which describes the multiple forms of assessment that reflect student learning, achievement, motivation, and attitudes on instructionally relevant class activities. It is the measurement of intellectual accomplishments that are worthwhile, significant, and meaningful, which can be devised by the teacher or in collaboration with the students by engaging student voice. Another point of consideration in our recommitment to core skills and instruction is intentionally supporting children holistically. Previous research has outlined the correlation between mindsets and academic performance. The shift to remote learning has demonstrated this clearly. Students with high levels of self-motivation, persistence, and independence have thrived while others have struggled. Similarly, the emotional toll of the COVID-19 pandemic has raised awareness of the need to address anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues as a precondition to helping students learn. It is a reminder that schools need to address the whole child, helping them develop skills and awareness that go beyond what they need simply to find a job. This supports our definition of education as outlined by Ellen G. White a century ago: the harmonious development of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual powers of man. Whether teachers are using remote, hybrid, or fully in-person models, starting the school year with the relationships and socio-emotional check-ins will ensure that students are mentally ready to learn. The COVID-19 crisis opened the way for a shift of responsibility in the teaching and learning process, as family members have become active agents in the process. The entire household has become learning facilitators, providing guidance and assistance to make the learning process pleasant for students. This is a very healthy initiative in the reimagined holistic support to students. Although teachers can always deliver lessons and learning materials online, learning needs interaction with the physical world. When it comes to the need for references to the outside world and physical interactions, household members need to play a role, showing real-life examples, giving demonstrations, or even having simple conversations. Household members need not be professors. They simply need to be present to facilitate the process. Support from household members gives students conviction that learning is an activity that is absolutely imperative. In the new normal, it is important to help students adapt to the future of work. The COVID-19 pandemic has likely accelerated workplace automation as employers continue to automate tasks to reduce costs and minimize the spread of infection. School systems need to help students adapt to rapid changes in the workplace and other impacts of rapid digitization, from ethical standards of cybersecurity to the impact on health, forensics, and many other parts of the economy. In the digital era, educators need to expand the understanding of what it means to be literate in the 21st century, not replacing traditional learning but complementing it. Computer programming and digital literacy are becoming core skills. For example, England has integrated computer science into all levels of primary and secondary education, so students start learning about coding and internet safety from the age of 5. With the speed of change in the digital era, business leaders can also be critical partners in helping students develop job-ready skills. Moving on to the second factor that ensures student success, the principals and teachers. There is a need to recommit to high-quality teachers and teaching. Research backs up what many of us know to be true. Children learn best from people, not programs. While greater use of technology in education may be inevitable, technology will never replace a great teacher. In fact, a single teacher can change a student's trajectory. High-performing school systems understand that and invest in both recruiting and helping top talent become effective teachers. Every system must do the same by developing and supporting teachers, especially as they learn new skills for remote and hybrid learning. It is high time to invest in new models of teacher preparation and development. Although most education experts recognize the importance of great teachers, teacher preparation and development still fall short in many systems. The Planning Institute of Jamaica identified inadequacies in the quality of teacher training as one impede the realization of the Sustainable Development Goal in education. That has to change, starting with creating more linkages between teacher training and local schools, much like the linkages between medical schools and hospitals to anchor learning in real-world practice. There is an opportunity to reimagine teacher training and development more fundamentally by leveraging advanced technology. Simulations can be used in teacher training in order to provide teachers a valuable learning experience before they spend their first day alone in a real classroom of students. Teachers need continued support in the classroom. Unfortunately, they often struggle to receive an effective professional development. One effective way to support teachers is to unbundle the role of the teacher. School systems can examine the areas in which teachers spend their time and free them to spend more time on high-value activities that require deep teaching, expertise, and relationships. Teachers should be given more time in planning creative and innovative delivery methods. How much paperwork does our educational system require of the teachers? My daughter is teaching in a school in Florida that practices mastery-based learning. As a science teacher, she needs enough time to plan activities that will measure her students' mastery of science concepts. We talk every day. And she would usually express her lack of time because of the many plans, course plans for the semester, unit plan, lesson plan, and others that her principal requires, which she thinks are used primarily as exhibits. There is an ongoing debate in the educational sector on the practice of lesson plan submission. Many teachers dread sitting down for 3 hours on a Sunday night to write pages and pages of detailed lesson plans. Does requiring teachers to submit lesson plans in advance lead to better teaching practice? Do principals have time to read the lesson plans that they require? What is the effect of lesson plan submission to the teacher's morale? These questions need answers based on hard data. The stress of remote and hybrid learning is already catalyzing some systems to rethink teacher roles and allocations. In short term, such reimagining may involve teams of teachers with some providing remote and others providing in-person learning. Systems might also consider a more radical unbundling of the role of the teacher, enabling individuals to take on more differentiated roles that play to their strengths. For example, is the opportunity culture multi-classroom leadership model, where teachers with leadership skills both teach and lead teams of teachers and assistants, sharing strategies and best practices. In this model, more students are reached by excellent teachers. Expert teachers are provided a career ladder without having to shift into administration, and newer teachers are supported and get coaching to improve their craft. With the many lessons we learned from COVID-19 pandemic, it is safe to say that the crisis has become a catalyst for innovation. The list of educational innovations and possible interventions is long, and many of those changes are untested or associated with only emerging evidence. Education systems need to take a research-based approach to test which of these innovations work best. We must challenge ourselves to reshape our teaching models to deliver a better education to every child, thus providing an inclusive and equitable, quality education for all in the new normal. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the closing session of the Research Week. Our task today is to present to you the competition that we underwent during this conference at the college levels. The criteria for judging this competition includes, but not limited to, the number of faculty within the college, their publications, engagement in research, peer-reviewed journals, publications of books, being a member of a journal review committee. Also, we looked at the number of graduate students within the colleges and the impact of the research that is being done by these students and the number of presentations that has been done by faculty within the time, the last 2 years, with the understanding that we are in a pandemic. We're looking at what our colleagues have been able to do creatively. Why not in the physical space? We also looked at those who mentor students. The number of students per faculty being mentored and being guided in research and in the colleges to which they belong. Based on some of these, we came to the conclusion having 3 colleges out of the 5 being the top. So my colleague is going to announce to you who those team members are.
Like Dr. Olonga said, there are 3 colleges that have emerged as top colleges for this year, 2021 research. And I want to begin with the college in the 3rd place. Now, it's not a college, and it's a school that is on its way to become a college. And so I want you, wherever you are, wherever you're from, wherever you're joining us, I want you to put your hands together for the School of Religion and Theology. The School of Religion and Theology is in the 3rd place, and we want to congratulate them this afternoon. So we're going to invite the representative from the School of Religion and Theology to accept their trophy. And the individual is on his way. Thank you so very much, Dr. Wright. Thank you so very much. And now we move to the second place, place number 2. And which college do you think that is? Wow. And I'm pleased to announce that the college in place number 2 is the College of Education and Leadership. Let's put our hands together for the College of Education and Leadership. And the representative is on his way to collect the award, the trophy, the College of Education and Leadership. And I see a whole contingent coming, the dean and wow. They will maintain. They are coming, wearing their masks and maintaining social distancing. The College of Education and Leadership. College of Education and Leadership. They're all here, and we put our hands together for them. The College of Education and Leadership, and we want to congratulate them on this achievement. And now we go to our first place winner, and we need a drum roll, a magnificent drum roll for this place. And the first place goes to the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing. Very good, very, very good. The champions this year. Very, very good. The College of Natural and Applied Science, Allied Health and Nursing. 2021 champion in research for this year. And they have accepted their trophy. Let's put our hands together for them again. Great job, great job, great job, great job. Thank you so very much. So our first place winners, the College of Natural and Applied Science, Allied Health and Nursing. Second place, the College of Education and Leadership. And in third place, the School of Religion and Theology. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sherwood. And just a minute. Yes, commendations. We want to commend our undergraduate students, researchers within the nursing school, in this very excellent, unusual virtual conference. For the first time, we found there were students, even in the pandemic, who were able to press on to get their work done and do excellent research. So the first person worthy of commendation is Miss Nadisha Brown. Can we put our hands together for Nadisha Brown? Yes, she presented today. She's a nursing student. She did her research on the impact of the COVID-19 on students who were on practicum, on clinicals, and it was excellent. You need to go onto YouTube and listen again. So, all the nursing students who participated, we commend you. And we also want to commend Mr. Paul Bond, who mentored the undergraduate nursing students. What we do at NCU, we commend the students, we commend those who work with them. That was an excellent work. We also want to commend the graduate students who did research from the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing, and those who did from College of Education and Leadership, and those who were also from Business Management, and those from Hub. They all participated. You could see the graduate students' research in this particular research conference. excellent presentations, and we commend all our graduate students. Please keep up the good work. Now, to the new researchers, we also want to commend new researchers who did a research within the college. That is Mr. Keron Toma. Mr. Keron Toma had an excellent delivery for the C.J. Thomas Memorial Lecture. And his topic was investigation into the perceived ease of use of learning management system using technology, acceptance module in a tertiary institution. And as we continue, commendation to members of the research committee. The research week wouldn't have been completed without the research committee. And we want to commend the coordinators of the research program within their colleges. I have here Ms. Joy Bryan, the nursing school, Mr. Aston Miller for College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing, Dr. Daniel Alida, CLE, College of Education and Leadership, and Dr. Ikechukwu Oluikpe, SRT, School of Religion and Theology, Dr. Brown L. and Dr. Vanessa Maiden. So we want to thank every one of you that came and participated. And I want to also commend those from the media who have been here from day one, ensuring that the program runs smoothly. Please, can we put our hands together for them? Thank you very much, and God bless you. Now to our VP of Academic, please, your time, madam. Dr. Quarry.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am just so ecstatic to be thanking you this afternoon on behalf of the President of Northern Caribbean University, Dr. Lincoln Edwards, as well as on behalf of the Division of Academic Administration for the work that has been done for this Research Week 2021. Dr. Jacqueline Vigilance, the Director of Research, who reports to the office of our university president, has been working assiduously with all of those of us who are in this university to ensure that we produce that which we ought to produce to fulfill our mission, both as a university and as a Christian Seventh-day Adventist institution. Our responsibilities lie way beyond doing merely academic courses, but we have indicated that we are up to the challenge of preparing to ensure that our communities, our nation, our region, and the world benefit from those of us who have entered tertiary education. So, I use this opportunity to thank you all. I thank all of our presenters. I thank all those of you who participated in any way. And may it be that the contributions that you have made will be of such that they materialize into wonderful blessings, not merely for this university, but for our community here in Mandeville, Manchester, for the island of Jamaica, and that all of this will redound to the wonderful mission of the Seventh-day Adventist education system. This is a place where we prepare individuals for work here on earth, for work that provides service to others, and in the end, to prepare us for God's soon-coming kingdom. May we all continue to be challenged by this, and may we fulfill our mission. May God bless you all.